Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone on YouTube Live. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, everyone on the Zoom session. This is our demo session of the VR AR Capstone and the Animation Capstone as part of the UW Reality Lab and the Paul G. Allen School of Computer Science and Engineering at the University of Washington. I'll present a few slides. Andrew, if you could share. Welcome everyone on YouTube Live. Thank you. All right. Great. So we call it the AR, VR, and animation capstones during the pandemic. Next. Usually, so this is a showcase of our AR, VR apps that undergrads have been inventing, designing, and developing for the last 10 weeks. Usually our demo day looks like this, where public is invited and there's a lot of crowd and people are discussing the applications that were invented and built, and giving feedback, and there's a lot of one-to-one personal interaction going on. These days we cannot do it, but we made the best we can, and we did it really well. I believe the students did it really well. Next. This is how our sessions look these days, as you can imagine. And next. We've been making the best of it. So students have been working with the following headsets. We've shipped VR AR devices to every person's house, and they were still working in teams, but individually in their houses. They worked with the Acer Windows mixed reality headset, with the Magic Leap, with the Quest, and with the Oculus Rift S. Different teams worked with different devices, as you'll see in the presentations later on. We worked with different applications. We worked with spatial, with Unity, and of course with Zoom, and developing in the corresponding languages for each of the devices. The theme of the class was, what can we do with AR and VR to be able to help in any way we can COVID-19 situation, and just keep in mind this situation and how we can change the world from our perspective. And so students have been working on the topics of, hey, how about we can teach you to code while you're sitting at home? Can we teach you how to code with VR language? How do we make sure that you're still fit while you're sitting at home to do exercise? Maybe you can learn chemistry and help discover a vaccine. There is an app for that. Students have developed an application that tells you what kind of things you touch and how to be safe and wash your hands and so on. Also, how to make sure that you relax from time to time, how to sail in VR. There's a team that worked on that application. Food, and learn how to cook. Of course, to have fun, solve a mystery. This is from the animation capstone, as you'll see. And finally, to help others who made a wish. So this is part of our work at the UW Reality Lab, where working together with the Make-A-Wish Foundation for Children. So the staff is led by John Akers and myself and David Kessler, with teaching assistants JJ Park and Paul Yu and Andrew Rudasik. And but honestly, it is all done by the students. Next. So we were trying to support the students as well as we can in this situation, and they did an amazing work. So let's see all the students in this Zoom session. Have everyone wave. Cool. All right, so let's begin the presentations. Just a few logistics. This global presentation goes until 5 p.m. Pacific. Then we have a private session between 5 and 5:30, and then at 5:30, everyone is invited to talk with the teams over Zoom. The teams are going to show their apps live, streamed through the devices. They're going to explain. You will be able to ask questions and so on. If you're on YouTube Live, you will see in the description links to the individual Zoom sessions, and feel free to connect. So with that, we'll start with the first team that will tell us how they build an app to teach people how to code in VR.
Hey. Hello, everyone. We're the Blockly team. Next slide, please. So first, to give you a general idea of what Blockly is an application for users to learn fundamental programming concepts by using gestures to manipulate blocks. We created Blockly to provide an immersive, interactive, and intuitive way for people to learn programming. There's two modes, puzzle mode for tutorials and free play mode for creative exploration. Most of the learning takes place in puzzle mode, which we'll get to on the next slide. Puzzle mode consists of different levels that target some subset of statement, abstraction, and iteration. The levels build upon each other, and by the end of all the levels, the users will have created some cool 3D structure using the programming concepts that they learned.
So the first level of puzzle mode is all about showing users the ropes of Blockly. So when the level starts, you'll see three kinds of blocks in the grid. You can see in the screenshot below. There's the transparent yellow cursor at the bottom, which represents your current position in the grid. Then there are the green puzzle blocks, which show you the structure you need to build to complete the level. And finally, there's the outlined yellow submit block, which is where you need to navigate your cursor to signal that you're finished with the structure. And in this level, the gestures the user learns are the move gesture for navigating the cursor around the grid and the emit gesture for placing and removing blocks. Next slide.
Another thing that we wanted to try to introduce when we're teaching programming is some way of like having a function or a method, or if you're not familiar with programming, this is sort of just like maybe a sequence of actions that you want to repeat multiple times over and over again. Maybe you'll just have it like in one place, and you can drag and drop it and apply that same module multiple times. We'll let users record these modules, is what we call them, by making a hand gesture that looks like this. Not sure if you can see my screen, but it's also this first screenshot below. And then that will signal the system to start recording what the user's doing. The user can then emit and move with their hands. And then once they're finished, they can make that same gesture again. And then that module is available for use. So then they can, the next slide, we'll talk about how we can use these modules.
So as we mentioned earlier, modules are basically analogous to functions or methods in programming. So similar to how you can call a function with the goal of like reusing code you've written, you can reuse any of the modules you've previously created. So to do this, you basically pinch to select a module from the module library, and then you can drag it over onto the main grid, and that will apply the module at the cursor. Next slide, please. So finally, we have looping as well. So for when you want to apply a module multiple times, instead of having to kind of repeat the pinching and dragging gesture like a bunch, you can actually just use a loop like you would when you're programming. So to loop, you can just pinch to select a module. But then with your other hand, you make like a circular gesture to indicate how many times you want to repeat that module. Next slide.
So that's Blockly in a nutshell. Thanks for watching.
All right, thank you so much, Blockly team. This is awesome. The next app is our fitness app.
Hi everyone. So we are Team 5, and for our project, we built an AR fitness application on the Magic Leap device called Ball Blitz. So why a fitness game? Obviously, during these times, everyone is stuck at home with limited exercise options. So we wanted to create a device that not only allowed people to have fun and play a game and be engaged, but also got them on their feet and up and moving. Fitness games are a bit of an emerging market in VR and AR with how bulky and heavy the headsets are. It's a niche area that as headsets begin to become more ergonomic and light, we will really start to see expand. And so that's why we kind of wanted to try something along these lines. Lastly, we wanted to create a game that was simple to use. People could dive in, press play, and for those who had never played VR or AR before, have a good idea of what's going on. Next slide. So a bit of an overview of our game. The basic idea is to catch balls as they fly around the room. When the user loads the application, they'll be asked to map their environment. It creates a mesh of the walls. It creates a mesh of the couch, tables, chairs, all which construct this play environment for the game. Then when they press play, balls will begin to fly out of the walls for the users to catch, and they earn 1 point per ball caught. And during this, there's a real-time live summary, which records movements like squats, stretch-based movements, so the user can see what kind of movements they're making during the game. Next slide.
So there are 3 game modes. The first one is unlimited. You just get to play and grab balls, and it counts how many balls you caught. And you get to play without penalties for as long as you want. But if you want a little bit more challenge, then we have time mode. You have a certain amount of time and you have to catch as many balls as you can. And then we also have survival mode, in which we have 3 lives and you need to catch balls. You lose a life if you don't catch a ball, but there are also bombs, and if you catch them, then you lose immediately.
Besides our 3 game modes, we also have some other features. For example, in this screen, we show the game summary. So the game summary is placed on a wall that you predefine in the play space. In this scene, what you see here is a summary for the timed mode. So as you can see here, we have the score, your current score for the game, the time you have left, the balls that have already spawned, and also the stretches and squats you have already done. Next slide. And also we have customizable settings that allows the user to change almost every aspect of the game. If you want more challenge, you can turn off the ball paths so that the balls are a bit harder for you to find, and this allows you to do more exercise. And also, you can change spawn frequencies, ball speed to increase or decrease the difficulty level. Yeah.
So to make exercising in mixed reality a great experience, we use some spatial mapping features. The first one is meshing. So first off, the user can create their own play space with either real structure or virtual structure. And then the meshing also allows the balls to collide with the furniture and the edge of the play space. In addition, we have custom user inputs. So as you have seen in the settings, it makes the game very customizable, so players can change the settings to have their own pace. And also the squat and stretch exercise scores are based on the user input to have a better accuracy. Next, we will have a gameplay demo.
thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, MR fitness team. Now, if you ever wondered what even goes into developing a vaccine, what's the chemistry behind it, and can we do it in to learn some of that in VR, listen to the next team.
Hello. Our group focuses on exploring virtual reality and education and how it has potential to change how we learn and teach in the future. Immersive technology allows students to not only see the educational content, but also interact with it. Next slide, please. Our project was built around the idea of simulating the experience of developing a vaccine in a medical lab because we think it's especially important for people to understand this process since we're in a global health pandemic. In this application, you will be one of the scientists working through a handful of tasks and trying to find a cure.
Yeah, so in our game, there are a few ways you can go about trying to develop a vaccine. And the first way is by killing a sample of a virus. Like when you think in real life, you inject a dead version of a virus into yourself, and we call that a vaccine. So you can do that in our game. So here on the slide is the procedure you'd have to follow to do that. The point of killing the vaccine is it teaches the player to mix chemicals together, gain experience heating them with a Bunsen burner, and also learning how to use a pipette to transfer liquids between a beaker and into small test tubes. Next slide. And the next way a player can try to develop a vaccine is by decomposing the virus. So here on the slide, you'll see some centrifuges. So a centrifuge is a tool that spins test tubes really fast. So the user has to place test tubes into the 5 slots in the centrifuge and make sure all the test tubes are balanced, meaning they all have the same volume of liquid, because a centrifuge doesn't spin properly if it's not balanced. So the player gains experience they gain experience using a centrifuge, and they also have to do the same thing, pipette the liquids in and out of test tubes, gain experience using a bunch of various laboratory tools.
The last gameplay is to make vaccine is to incubate the virus with chicken cells so that it is weak against human. The player will be mixing virus with embryo cells in the red petri dish using a pipette. Then the player will place the petri dish into the incubator shown on the bottom right. The player is responsible to control the time so that the virus strain can reach a better score. Next slide.
Okay, so here is the summary of the game. It teaches the players how to create a vaccine by starting out with a virus sample, then use the 3 procedures to develop a potential vaccine and then evaluate it. During this, the player will learn how to use the lab equipment and gradually receive fundamental knowledge about biology and chemistry. Next slide, please. Thank you. So here's the video of our game. Firstly, of course, is the lab overview of our game. And then we have a help mode which can be toggled by the headset controllers. And here are the pipettes. Here's the fridge that can be where the original viruses are stored. You can pick the tube out, and then of course there are the 3 choices to make a potential vaccine: the incubation and the centrifugation. And lastly, use chemical and heating to weaken the virus, to kill the virus. And lastly, when you think like the strain's good enough, you put that into a virtual machine to see if the virus is good enough, whether it saved the world or not. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next team was wondering, so we are giving recommendations to wash our hands all the time, not to touch surfaces. So if we touch surfaces, different surfaces in the house, to clean them frequently. So they decided to build an app that tracks what we've been touching and how to clean all those areas over time. Go for it, Mind Your Touch team.
Hello, we are Team 7. We are Manual Touch team. Next. So during last few months, the COVID-19 virus spread fiercely across the world. And one major way that the virus spreading is through touching contaminated surface. And our goal is to build a Magic Leap application which call people's attention on the virus spreading upon touch surfaces. And we also call people's attention that the importance of regularly cleaning contaminated surface. And next. Next.
Yep. So this is the menu. From here, users have 3 different modes to choose from. The contamination mode checks and colors the areas touched. In this mode, we also simulated virus deactivation, and the decay time can be selected from the menu. The cleaning mode allows users to clean certain contaminated areas, and the heat map mode displays a heat map based on the touch frequencies of different surfaces. Next.
And now let's look at each mode a little more in detail. First one is contamination mode. It helps us to visualize how the virus can be spread when users touch different surfaces. So one huge challenge for us is because all the viruses are invisible. So this is a good way to help us to still see the surroundings that we're familiar with from day to day and see those virtual viral particles on our hand and help us be mindful of how dirty our hand is and how the virus can be spread. Next, please. And then we have cleaning mode. After user explored with contamination mode, the surfaces will be marked that they touched before will be marked as red. And then we can switch to cleaning mode and to clean them up. And finally, we have the heat map mode. This is help us. This can give user a statistical overview of the most frequently touched area in their home. So as you can see in the picture, if you look around, the more warmer the color is, the more frequent that the areas that you touched before. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mind the Touch team. Now it's time to relax a little bit and see how you can do it with sailing in VR.
Hello, we are pleased to present Hands on Deck, a VR sailing experience. Today's world has many of us spending time in confined spaces and lacking our communities. For sustained periods without human interaction, this can lead to anxiety and emotional distress. Next slide. In response to these societal challenges, we are inspired to use virtual reality to bring people back into the same space together. We have chosen a calm and tranquility of bringing the open water to you via the Oculus Quest. Next slide.
That goal materialized into our vision of Hands on Deck, a sailing experience for the Oculus Quest where you can relax, socialize with friends as you maneuver a ship through vistas inspired by Puget Sound. Then we refined that open-ended idea into the story of delivering protective equipment and supplies to towns and islands to aid them during the coronavirus situation. The core components of our experience are a ship to sail on, interaction with its mechanisms, multiplayer support, and an immersive environment. Next slide. Now for a quick preview. Now let's take a look at some of the features showcased in the video.
One of the most important features for the hands-on-deck experience is full multiplayer functionality. Using Unity's Photon Pun, up to 4 network players are able to join each other on one ship as a team of charming sailors, gaining the full sailing experience together. Ship steering, interactions, and grabbable physics objects are all fully synced up between players. Next slide.
Because we want to deliver a realistic sailing experience, we did some research on how to sail a full rigged ship and highlighted some key interactions we could include in Hands on Deck. Ultimately, this boiled down to weighing anchor, pulling the sails tight, bracing the sails port side or starboard, and operating a hoist that ties into our story of delivering supplies to different islands. We implemented these interactions in a UI menu for ease of access, such that all sailors can have control. Next slide.
Due to the consideration of motion sickness and seasickness, we've come up with a way of gently sailing the boat without actually causing the players a lot of harm motion by moving the world around them. Next slide.
To make the environment more lively and to round out our story, we created a few points of interest where the ship can dock up to and deliver supplies, prompting celebratory fireworks. Next slide. Just like
Thanks
this.
for listening,
Thank you and welcome aboard.
Awesome. Thank you, sailing team. And we'll start with the cooking team, chefing team. Wouldn't you want to learn how to cook better while you're sitting at home now? Go ahead, chefing team.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me? Wait.
We can hear you.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. Hi guys. Good afternoon. Welcome to Chefing, a mixed reality cooking app. Next slide. Our team is trying to solve the problem of multitasking during cooking. We want to create a streamlined and enjoyable experience for those who are new to cooking. And here's how we do it. Next, please. Today, we will show you how you can make a breakfast burrito with the help of our product. Put on your magical sleeve and let's start this yummy and fun journey. Next, please.
So I'll talk a bit about the interface. As you saw, it's simplistic and easy to navigate around with. It follows you around and it always presents itself towards you when you use it. It's like our little buddy in this app. And if you want manual control of where it'll go, all you need to do is pinch the top sphere and move it wherever. As far as if you find the perfect place to put it, you can also lock it in place so it doesn't follow you around. And by default, the interface sits at a comfortable location so that it's easy to press whatever button you need. And it's not too close though, so that it stays away from the clipping plane of the device, so that you can always see it. And by nature, it's on the smaller end of things, so that it's perfectly sized for the Magic Leap's field of view. Next slide. So a little bit more detail. Our onboarding interface lets the user choose which recipe they want to make. So throughout this quarter, we focus mainly on making a breakfast burrito, but it's easy to add more recipes to this app. All the recipes are stored via XML file, so you just need to put that in the resources folder. And then once a user chooses a recipe, all the required ingredients and utensils are placed on the screen. And there's also a button that's pops up that allows the users to practice certain techniques that they would need for the recipe. Next slide.
So before a user going into a tutorial, we provide a simulation that helps them practice cooking skills and concept. We have built 3 simulations that are related to our main recipe, the breakfast burrito. They are cutting, that simulates the real cutting angle, so that user can practice different slicing technique, and also pan simulation where people can do some interesting thing, such as flipping an egg. There are also burrito wrapping simulation that teaches the user how to do a 4-point method for wrapping tortilla. Next slide, please.
So for each of the tutorial, we have both text instruction and video instruction. And so as mentioned before, we're trying to solve the problem of having to multitask when learning a new recipe. So our in-game interface is designed in a way that the user can interact with everything using their hand. And also there's timer that the user can use. Next slide. At the end of the recipe, so the user is congratulated with a little confetti effect. Yeah, next slide, please.
Yeah, if you want to see the chef making breakfast burrito, come to our demo. Thank you.
Yay, awesome. Thank you, chefing team. I would like to remind everyone that that was 10 weeks of work for each of the teams, so a really short time. Good job, everyone. All right, so the next team is from the UW animation capstone, and it's called Dazzle. Let's see what the team came up with.
All right. Andrew, if you would hit the next slide button 3 times. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be interrogated? No? Well, too bad. Next slide. We have our Dazzle murder mystery, Live for Your Life. Next slide. Let's see. You enter Dazzle. Inspired by Animation Capstone's short film, Dazzle Murder Mystery takes place after Dazzle mistakenly plays the lead role as an unqualified circus clown. And as you play through the game, you play as Dazzle, and help him remember certain scenes, piecing together the story as a whole while trying to remember certain scenes after that fateful night when he mistakenly runs over a clown with his unicycle. Next slide. This is all sold by the armature You Can Only Sell a Lie Once, which was the theme of the Dazzle short film produced by the animation Capstone. Next slide. Previously, in the winter quarter, we had 3 separate mini games, but we wanted to merge them all together and include each spirit in the final game, so they made Dazzle Murder Mystery game so much richer. Next slide. This is a visualization of our development process. As the quarter went on, it went from a more generalized abstract game to more of a smooth, polished game with a storyline. And as everything came together, everyone contributed to making the final product that you see today. Next slide. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, we couldn't meet up in VR, but rather than sitting in a room all day, we decided to use a new innovative way in order to meet and present our work together. Next slide. And next slide. We had some branching storylines, and they were a must-have in our game, allowing the user to base their own decisions off the perception of their movie. And here we have the official branching storylines with options converging only at the minigames and the ending. Next slide. Audio was also an important part of a game, and we had an extensive library to further sell the experience to the player. Next slide. And thanks to our amazing team, a lot of expressive animations were created, something that is essential for conveying animations and visualization of the game. Next slide. We also had a dark environment that was used to create a sense of tension and at the same time satirical weight as to which choice the player makes. Next slide. For VR interaction, the player embodies Dazzle and interacts with the game based on 2 cards and choosing them whether to lie or tell the truth while worming your way out of the situation. Next slide. The 2 mini games were integrated into Dazzle and they give life to the mini games that the player participates in as they try and help Dazzle reconstruct his memory of what happened. Next slide. And finally, the environment depicts Dazzle's disorganized, discombobulated mind, and as the player works the game, they must help Dazzle to reconstruct his memories of what happened, and they themselves have to worm their way out of everything. And on top of everything, recurring armature of the original film continues to haunt the player. You can only sell a lie once. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dazzle team. And the last but not the least is a super special project that the UW Reality Lab and the Capstone are doing together with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to fulfill a child's wish to do a game in VR. So let's see what they came up with.
Right, hello. Our project is Ninja. Next slide, please. So what is Ninja? Ninja is a game where you're on a mission to try and save the world. Monsters are trying to get to the Stone of Life, and as a ninja, it's your job to try and protect it. As a ninja, you have access to a sword and ninja stars, and you use these weapons to defeat the monsters. We tried to design the game to try and make you feel like a real ninja. Next slide, please.
This is a very special project because it's the first collaboration between UW Reality Lab and Make-A-Wish. So Make-A-Wish is a nonprofit organization that accepts hopes and creates life-changing wishes for minors with critical illness. And these wishes are from children between 2.5 years old to 18 years old and bring hope to children fight critical illness. Next, please. Next.
So, in his wish to be a ninja, Christopher had 3 specific components. Of course, he wanted to throw ninja stars. Secondly, he wanted to experience his wish with his grandpa, who he looks up to so dearly. And finally, he wanted to fight monsters that he designed. You could actually see his drawings right there. So to grant these wishes for a 5-year-old and ensure that he's successful in the game, we took some of our own liberties. For the ninja star throwing, we implemented an aggressive aim assist, where if you throw in the general direction of a target, it's almost a 100% hit rate. We include a sword as a secondary weapon, which is functionally simpler and easier to use, so Christopher has a fallback. To ensure his grandpa is in the game, we added him as a guide and as a narrator that will assist Christopher. We have pre-recorded voice lines that encourage him throughout the game. He appears as a spirit to ensure his grandpa's presence, while avoiding possibly scaring Christopher with a CGI version of his grandpa. And lastly, the monsters. They attack, but they never land hits. and there's no losing conditions. Slide. Next slide.
The game is designed for a 6-year-old child, so we had to make sure the experience we create is accessible for him. We make sure that the game does not require much movement, so no running, jumping, climbing walls, to make sure there is no motion sickness. There's no menus or any buttons that could possibly confuse him, and sword is always in the hand to make sure that he doesn't lose it. But overall, we had to make sure the experience is not scary, but fun, and so much more. Next slide. So the experience itself starts with Christopher putting on the VR device. The game itself does not start right away, and he gets a chance to get familiar with the environment. After which, the tutorial scene starts when he breaks a vase, and Grandpa will take him through how to use his weapons, so sword and ninja stars. After the tutorial scene, monsters will come in and attack. When Christopher defeated all the monsters, Grandpa will ask him to take the gem with him back to the real life. Next slide.
Here's our video. Sweet, so next slide. So yep, there's plenty of work to be done. The wish is set to be granted in spring 2021. Keep up with us, visit that site, visit that link. We'll keep everybody posted. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Such a great job. Thank you, everyone on YouTube for connecting. There's 8 teams here that you just watched their 5-minute presentations. The team are available for conversations, feedback, streaming their app through Zoom sessions directly in real time. So feel free to join at 5:30 to the public session, and you'll see in the YouTube stream in the description, you will see the link how to connect to the individual Zoom sessions for every team. So thank you, everyone, and see you in the individual Zoom sessions. And thank you for the students for all the amazing work. Good job, guys. All right. This concludes this session. Bye.